At this moment, you are, as I understand, independent, but there is a sense that you are moving towards a kind of Republican position and affiliation. This ultra political position that you currently occupy, a condemnation of systemic corruption, the alliance between the political state and the corporate and financial world, the support of globalist agenda, the inability of ordinary people to have their voices heard. Do you think that you can maintain that position in the Republican Party any more than you could within the Democrat Party? And what does it say about our systems that these outlier voices, such as yours and obvious notable ones in both the Democrat Party and the Republican Party, are emerging? And how will these voices ever be ultimately heard? How will these voices become anything other than rhetorical with the intransigence that currently exists within US politics?
Well, first of all, I'm an independent and I don't have any plans to join the Republican Party. It's not something I'm thinking about. I've always been a very independent-minded person, and I will continue to be that way. I've always made sure that as I looked at policies and positions that I've taken, my interest, my objective, my goal is to put the interests of the American people in our country ahead of any political interests, for that matter. I have been even-handed in my criticisms and praise of, while I was in Congress, of both Democrat presidents and Republican presidents, Democrat leaders and Republican leaders, because that's what we need. We need leaders in both political parties who have integrity and who can speak the truth, who aren't just thinking about, well, what's my next political step? And I will do anything and everything to get there. This was something, and I was elected in 2012 to Congress, and it really struck me when within just the first few weeks of being there, we had, I think it was 84, 85 new members of Congress, a mix of Democrats and Republicans. We were there talking about meeting each other and how do we start solving problems? How do we work together to start solving problems? Well, very quickly, unbeknownst to us, our group would be separated into two. Democrats went into one room, Republicans went into the other room. And we were both essentially given the same message, which is you have to put party first. You have to put team first. It doesn't matter if you want to work with somebody because they've got a great idea. You might actually help them look good and make it harder for us to beat them in the next election. Or, there might be a Republican who has a great idea and putting forward strong legislation. We're not going to push that legislation forward because there's a Republican name that's sponsoring it. We'll just kind of take the idea and put a Democrat name next to it. It's this hyper-partisanship and this team spirit mentality that is everything that's wrong with Washington. And it's why people here in the United States feel so left behind. We have people in Washington who are continually trying to advance their position, strengthen their party's position. And meanwhile, people who are trying to make decisions about whether they can afford to fill up the gas tank or buy groceries for their kids, that is the reality that they're dealing with. Meanwhile, leaders in Washington are just out of touch. So I think it's most important for us as Americans and as we look to leaders in this country and to be leading voices ourselves, to really think about how do we put the people first, fighting for peace, recognizing that without peace, we cannot achieve prosperity. We cannot truly be free. And the more we do that, then the more we can get past empty rhetoric and empty words and actually bring about change through leaders who have their priorities straight.
You think that you can make a significant difference in this tribalized and entrenched system independently then? Do you, as people, have, I suppose, reflected, imagined, speculated, consider it a possibility that you could form an alliance with Donald Trump? Is that something that you've thought about? Is it something that you would consider doing?
It's not something I've thought about. I don't know what he's doing or what any other political official is doing in the coming years. What I'm 100% focused on is finding fellow Americans who share my love of country, my goal of being of service to the American people and putting their interests first, and upholding the Constitution and protecting our God-given rights and freedoms that are enshrined in the Constitution from those who seek to undermine them.